Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my spoiler discussion and review of Spider-Man Homecoming. So this is being posted a little bit later than normal in the film release schedule, but I did want to come in here and talk about Spider-Man Homecoming, and I thought since this is coming up a little bit later, you know what, let's just do a spoiler talk, shall we? And this is going to be much more a discussion about the film than it is my typical reviewing positive negative type format. So everybody is just loving Spider-Man Homecoming. It has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is the highest rating of any superhero film this year. And I have to say, on all accounts, I don't necessarily agree. I found this to be a perfectly enjoyable film. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't think it is the best Spider-Man film. I don't think it's terrible or the worst Spider-Man film. It just found its way into nice, enjoyable movie. So I am a little bit shocked at the extremely positive feedback that it has received. But let's go ahead and just kind of dissect the film, starting right off with the Marvel opening credit sequence, which I absolutely adored. So Marvel did their usual thing, but they added like this cool Spider-Man theme to it, the like retro Spider-Man, and it was fantastic. Like, I thought we were off to a really, really good start. And I think we stayed on a really strong start to begin with. My personal view is that this film does the high school small moments way better than it does any of the action moments or anything where it needs to get a little bit bigger or expand out. It does the small moments. It does the high school interactions so much better. So when we were just in that high school and Peter was interacting with his friends, with Zendaya, with all the other students there, and just being a normal high schooler, I thought it was so good. And I even enjoyed the like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man way more than I enjoyed the rest of this film. So being a part of the MCU, in my personal opinion, hurt this Spider-Man incarnation. If they had just kept it completely self-contained and did this charming neighborhood, smaller scale Spider-Man film, I think I would have absolutely loved it. But I did enjoy those moments they brought to the table here. And a big part of that is Tom Holland himself. I thought he was fantastic. He was adorable in the role, and I think he may have just taken over for my favorite Peter Parker. I think he was really well balanced in the role. He was everything I look for in a Peter Parker and a Spider-Man. He was able to deliver it all. He wasn't too cocky. He's not like too attractive to where you don't believe what's going on here. He wasn't really whiny. He was fun, he was funny, he was extremely charming, and I really think Tom Holland is a fantastic Spider-Man moving forward, and he shined so well in this movie. I also think Jacob Batalon was fantastic. He played his best friend, and he had the biggest laughs in the movie. I thought he was really funny, he was super charismatic. I thought he was just so good, and I enjoyed the banter back and forth between Peter and his friend, and again, those are kind of why they're the best moments in the film to me. And then to round out like our high school peeps, I'm going to just talk about Zendaya. I'm not going to really talk about the love interest because she didn't really have a character. Zendaya played their other little friend, and I loved her character. I thought she was really funny. Seemed kind of like a Larry type of character, a little sarcastic. The one thing I did not like about her character, however, is the fact that her name is Michelle, and she says, all my friends call me MJ at the end. Nope. Sorry about it. Why? That was like an unnecessary change to make MJ now stand for Michelle something. It was stupid. I didn't like it at all. And that was the one moment, and it happened right there at the end, that I was just like, oh. As for the heavy hitters, the big name actors in the film, I think Michael Keaton was really good, but was saddled down. I think Michael Keaton delivered a solid, strong performance throughout. But there is that one sequence that he is really given a chance to just have fun with his role, let loose, And it was so fantastic. When they were doing that like red light, green light, sitting in the car on their way to homecoming, he was so fantastic. And you could tell he just was really getting into his role as this superhero villain. And I was like, oh, this is what we could have had for Michael Keaton the whole film. But he was kind of saddled with a ho-drum kind of role for the most part. And then we get to his monologue, which I think is a really relatable monologue to most of us, because we are the little guy out here. And it's just cut short. It is a diversion. It's just a plot device to get to the next act of villainy, which was a real shame. If we had seen more shades of him during that speech explaining to Peter, Tony Stark doesn't care about any of us. Like, they don't care. They're here to screw us. And there's nothing we can do about it unless we do something about it. And I thought, wow, this is a great villain. This is almost up to something like Magneto level of anti-hero. But he was reduced to committing petty crimes and kind of saddled with a meh role overall. But we're going to talk about the villain a little bit more in a second. Bookmark it. Then we get over to Marissa Tomei. And I'm going to say, I think Marissa Tomei was a really good Aunt May. Now she, you could tell, was having fun with her role. I think she really had fun with it. I think she brought a lot of energy into the film. I love that they kept her costumes like very Aunt May-esque. The glasses. Here's what I didn't love. The overt sexualization of Aunt May is a problem to me. So I have a diehard Spider-Man fan in my real life. That's one of my friends. And he was very upset about Aunt May being de-aged and really hated the Marissa Tomei casting. And I had defended it. Because while in the comic books, yes, she is very elderly, there's nothing inherent to her being so elderly. She doesn't need to be that old. It's not great-grandma May, it's Aunt May, and realistically an aunt can be the same age as you, you know? So there's no need for super elderly Aunt May. But once you get into having character after character after character sexualize Aunt May, because now it's a very attractive Marissa Tomei, that's where the problem comes in, because it feels like Sony has just been de-aging her and de-aging her to sexualize her. And here's the real problem. She isn't sexualized, and she doesn't sexualize herself. She doesn't present herself in this super sexy way. Yet Tony Stark, the guy at the sandwich shop, the guy at the Thai restaurant, all just making comment after comment, giving her free stuff, making all these comments and like objectifying her. And I had a big problem with it, actually. And that's the problem. I loved Aunt May. I didn't love the way the rest of the universe reacted to Aunt May. And it was just such a big shame. And then Robert Downey Jr. was Robert Downey Jr. He was Tony Stark that we've seen in all of the films up to this point. But his portrayal was fine. His acting work was fine. But bouncing off of Tony Stark, I appreciated that we didn't get another origin story. We all know this story by this point. We all know the Uncle Ben. We all know the call to action for Spider-Man. But to have literally one side reference to Uncle Ben, kind of in a throwaway line, and really just in reference to Aunt May and what she had been through, was really a disservice to the character. Uncle Ben is essential to the creation of Spider-Man. He is a key aspect to who Spider-Man is, not only as a hero, but as a person. And to completely throw out the character, not even mention him by name, no pictures, nothing, and then to not have him be any type of motivation for Spider-Man was really a disappointment to me. And what confounded that was the fact that Uncle Ben and Uncle Ben's role in Spider-Man's life was replaced by Tony Stark. Somebody who hadn't deserved that role. So this is the new father figure. Somebody who has proven to be when it comes to actual morals and actions. And you put him in this father figure role that was reserved for someone who literally raised an orphaned child. Also, was there a need for Pepper Potts at the end? Because I say no. Because I thought Pepper Potts and Tony Stark were established as broken up in a previous film. But here they are, like, possibly getting engaged, but clearly back together. I don't know. That moment also, we could have just left that out. Was there really any need for that? And then hearkening back to the villain, the problem is that this is so small scale in so many ways that the MCU tie-in felt out of place. Essentially, Spider-Man is trying to stop and solve petty crime. That's what happens here. That's what Michael Keaton is doing. He is stealing from the Avengers and, selling it onto the black market, which, of course, could become a big problem because they're alien warfare. But the story we're given here is small-scale crime. So it would make sense, I guess, for neighborhood Spider-Man to solve this, to figure it out and to do it. It would be a great learning lesson for him to understand that there are big weapons, there are dangers out there. But the Michael Keaton character is not given enough time to really develop and move forward and kind of make you feel for him and make you understand his point of view. So we get to the point at that end where he gets this great monologue and you're like, oh, I just want to hear more. It started off on kind of a note because it's like, really, Stark Industries or the city, no one would honor this contract and at least pay out the people that they went into contract with. So these people are literally just up the river with no paddle. But it put this film into such a weird middle ground. It was a self-contained film that wasn't an origin story, but it also served heavily in aiding the Avengers' whole storyline, or pushing forward the Avengers plots, giving those nods. So that's where I think the movie just felt so weird to me personally. It didn't know. It wasn't a small-scale, cool, neighborhood Spider-Man, but it wasn't a big-scale, other MCU standalone film actioner either. It just was there. And that's where I feel with the movie. It's just here. It's fun, it's breezy, it's light, it moves along just fine. I think it works best with the comedic moments. I wish it would have stayed as a high school film. But ultimately, I thought it was just fine. I didn't love it. I'm shocked at the great reception that it's getting, if I'm being honest. So, I don't know. What am I missing with this new Spider-Man? What is going over my head? What am I not getting from those of you who are just in love with this film? What makes it better than just fine? Let me know down in the comment section. I want to get a discussion. I want to further understand people's absolute love for this movie. So let's have that discussion down either in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. As usual, I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!